Bro, saying that just one scene made Breaking Bad the greatest series of all time is kind of clickbait. I mean, this damn show has a ton of scenes that are straight up masterpieces when it comes to directing. Scenes like this one. Why is this so epic?
Run.
All right, how do we see Walter? Low angle shot, and what's around him? Basically nothing. We're not looking at Walter anymore. We're looking straight at Heisenberg in all his glory, bro. Like I said, low angle means power. He's completely alone. Nothing takes away visual weight from the frame. I mean, the dude looks powerful. Also, not to mention, we'll get into the whole editing thing later. But for now, let's compare this shot with this other one from season 5. Yeah, same person, but not the same character. He's no longer Walter or Heisenberg. Now he's Mr. Lambert. And how is he shown? Trapped. You see the difference in composition? It's those tiny details that make the series absolutely sublime.
I need to collect my wife and kids. Okay, just give me an hour, and then you make the phone call. Don't forget, please.
Bro, I think the best thing we can do is take a look at the final scene from the crawl space episode. Cause man, that scene is just insane. We start off with this shot. Walter laughing like a full-on maniac, while the camera slowly pulls away in one continuous move until it gets to this point. With the camera's perspective, and I know you'll back me up on this, bro, the floor stops looking like a floor and starts to feel more like a wall. And that trap door Walter used to get into the crawl space, it completely boxes him in. But I think there's an even better word for this. More than just trapped, he's framed. And if a moment ago I told you the floor looked like a wall, now seeing Walter like this, it's as if he's just a portrait hanging there, a memory of who he once was. And why am I speaking in past tense, bro? The answer's simple, because Walter is already dead. This is the point where his life hits a no-return zone, where everything collapses. For him, his family's in mortal danger, and that person who once had a bit of goodness in his heart, I think he's just gone. Now he's nothing but a memory, just a photo hanging on the wall, exactly like what we're shown here. But the fact that the camera rises, leaving Walter completely boxed in, for a lot of people, that's no coincidence. And I don't think it is either. And yeah, bro, obviously what I'm about to say is just one way to look at it, but I think it makes a whole lot of sense, so I'd recommend you keep an open mind. Because in other videos, I've heard people say this is where Walter dies and only Heisenberg is left. And yeah, I kind of agree with that, but also not entirely. I agree, because yeah, this is definitely a point of no return. But I also don't agree because that would basically trap Walter in this black and white character dynamic, like good guy versus bad guy. And the truth is, Walter's a totally gray character. But going back to the whole idea of this being a point of no return, yeah, I know, kind of repeating myself. We could make this comparison, bro. The camera rising over Walter's body, showing him trapped and framed, all the way up to a light bulb hanging from the ceiling. It kind of brings up that classic image, that classic phrase, I'm walking into the light, or I see the light. And that's exactly what's happening here. The camera moves toward the light. You know, that thing people always say when someone's about to die. Like literally, the camera goes up toward the light and leaves Walter behind. I think that shot is just straight up beautiful, bro, because it really shows or symbolizes that the character's soul has left the earthly world, leaving behind nothing but his alter ego. And like I said, Walter and Heisenberg are really just one and the same, constantly shifting between light and dark. But there's no denying that from this moment on, everything changes. It marks a total shift in the character's mindset. Because what comes next in season 5, bro, what comes next is a full-on unleashed monster. And it all starts right here. Obviously, it's not just about the scream moment. Because honestly, I think the way they build up the whole scene is straight up beautiful. All right, so what do we see? Walter comes running into his house, completely freaked out, storms into the little room, and flips on the light. And I want to pause right here for a second, because I'm really interested in the lighting setup, bro. How does Walter appear? Bro, the answer's pretty obvious if you ask me. He shows up well lit. No harsh shadows messing up his face or anything. It's a soft lighting setup, real clean. But if we skip forward just a few seconds in that same scene, how does Walter look then? Man, check out the difference. You can clearly tell the lighting setup changes completely. Now we've got strong shadows on his face, and that makes his emotions pop way more. His expression feels more intense, more raw, and it's because of those shadows. This right here is a hard lighting setup, no doubt. But bro, let me ask you something. Why do you think he shows up well lit here and then all shadowed there? And yeah, I know someone's gonna say, Well, it's not because there's not as much light in the crawl space. Exactly, bro. I mean, we've got to set the obvious aside for a second, because this really has a narrative purpose. There's an actual reason why the lighting changes, beyond just the practical stuff. So, what does Walter do? Literally speaking, well, man literally goes down into the crawl space, and metaphorically, it's a descent. And yeah, it's no coincidence that the money is stashed under the house. Getting to this point feels like the show is telling us Walter is descending into madness. And the lighting? It follows that vibe perfectly. Bro, before going down there, he was well lit. He was still sane. Yeah, it was a dangerous situation, but he thought he still had the money down there. Then he realizes it's gone, and that's when everything changes. As he descends, the shadows start to distort his face. He's not the same anymore. Madness starts creeping in. Those little details the cinematographer pulled off, man, they're pure genius. They perfectly match that feeling of losing grip on reality. And that's not even mentioning Bryan Cranston's insane performance. But I don't think that's all, bro. This part really hit me. It's honestly a work of art. Just look at how Walter looks when he finally gets down there. It's a dirty, wrecked, ugly space. But that's not even the most important part. We're in the crawl space, meaning there's barely any room to move. The space between the ground and the ceiling, which is basically the floor of his own house, leaves Walter with almost no mobility. He's boxed in, and that gets pushed even further with those wooden beams holding up the house. Elements that add both literal and metaphorical weight on him. They trap him because he's facing a situation that, from where he's standing, looks like there's no way out. Gustavo's gonna take care of his family. Wink, wink, if you know what I mean. Like, this dude is ruthless, and at this point, it feels like everything's lost. But that's not all. The money, where do they keep it? Yeah, it's stored in bags with clothes inside. But if you really look at it, those bags could easily be mistaken for body bags. Total dead body vibes, man. It's a subtle but very real reminder for Walter that death is creeping into his home. Then Skylar shows up, totally unaware of the hell Walter's going through. And how do we see her? Exactly. She's still upstairs, in the house, well lit. She hasn't descended into the madness, so she's surrounded by soft lighting. Her husband's losing his mind. She's not. We get to the scene we broke down at the start of the video, the one where the camera rises and all those metaphors and layers of visual semiotics kick in. Then the phone starts ringing, Walter's laugh creeps in, and the sound design throws in that heartbeat thumping underneath it all. In other words, all these elements pull us even deeper into the tension, especially when we see Marie talking. And the question is, bro, how do we see her? Exactly, as hard lighting. She's basically just a shadow. She's swallowed by fear too. The music keeps pulsing steadily until we see Walter one last time. Then, cut to black, credits roll. And if there's one thing the series leans into the hardest at that moment, it's the lighting. Showing Marie as nothing more than a silhouette, literally no light on her, creates this massive contrast with the background. It's brilliant because it mirrors exactly what they did with Walter. Hard light, doubt, and dread all the way through, and that's how it ends. What I honestly think is the best and most powerful scene in the whole series. The scene that, for me, made Breaking Bad the greatest show of all time.